to introduce our final Ignite speaker, Joe Bolz.
Let's just make sure you can hear me all, yeah? All right. Let's face it, when it comes to math teachers, there exist a few stereotypes, and I have felt the discomfort of these labels. Nerd, a unique sense of humor, unsociable, and as much as I try to break these stereotypes, I remain a label. And that's the way the world sees us, math teachers, conforming to a societal label through a binary perspective. We either are or are not a math teacher. We either are a 0 or a 1. And we are not only the product, but also the producers of this binary perspective. We as math teachers have created our own little matrix of 0s and 1s, one that we view our world, our schools, our students through a pair of binary bifocals, if you will. I know I did. I'd rely on rows and columns of students, all 1s and 0s, a view of students as knowing or not knowing, on task or not on task, passing or not passing, black or white, foreign or domestic, male or female. And I did this, Keanu'd my matrix from a position of power, power that we all have, power that we may sometimes forget we have. From the moment I entered teaching, the moment I put on my bifocals, I knew I wanted to change the world. I wanted to save students, unlike the world that saved me. Through my lenses, I saw my past. I saw that I grew up always wanting, never having enough, but always having just enough. I knew no one would give me a future, so I knew I had to give myself a future. I overcame my fate on my own, and then I returned to the world that gave me a chance. So I put on my glasses as I entered my first classroom where I begun my quest to save those that needed saving. Along the way, I had challenges. My unicultural world was expanding, and I made some mistakes, for which I was called an ist, through whispers, words, and ways, and I kept those glasses on for a long time. But I heard a teacher exclaim once, "It doesn't matter to me if they're black or white. I treat all students the same." And I felt the glasses slipping. I then worked with a student who failed her French class because she would miss her class to attend to her family, and her teacher would give her 0s on all her missing work, including tests, until she failed. And as a Latina, she saw her white counterparts given the time to make up their absences, and the glasses fell to the edge of my nose. And then one day a student, a black boy, came in late to my room, later than he should have, and instead of letting him stay and learn with his classmates, I made him leave to get a pass. And his peers confronted me, told me I wouldn't have done that to the other students, that I was hard on him because he was black and male, and they were right. And I had no choice anymore. I took my glasses off. And suddenly my world, a world that was rational, that was all 0s and 1s, became irrational, became an infinite array of all the irrationals in between 0 and 1. Every student, a unique and different student, no one conforming to a stereotype, because you can't create a rule for something that is without end. Each student would be the best I ever had, and I could finally see. I saw my past. I saw that even when I thought I was alone in pulling myself up, I was pulled up by society. As a white Protestant male, it didn't matter that I didn't have the means. I had the image, the identity, and I conformed to a societal success story, so I became that story. And I saw my present. I saw the building I was teaching in, the students I worked with, and the injustices that were occurring. So I decided to work for change, being open about the injustices with our administration, yet from the perspective of a white male. If I couldn't give back to society everything it had given me because of my race and gender, I would use that position to advocate. I decided to change the way I taught. I began my foray into social justice, a work that I've committed to learning and teaching, but a work that can't happen overnight, a work that can't be done while working the binary bifocals. And I saw my future. I saw the chance to speak to people like I am today and to spread a message. I lost my place. And to tell people that they may be wearing their binary bifocals and to reassess those lofty goals like I had to. Change the world. But whose world are you changing? And is it yours to change? For me, it's now my call to teach students to be the change they want to see in the world. Save the students. But from what? From what I've seen without my glasses, students are brilliant in their own right, in their own way. I choose to know the students, to learn from them, their stories, their cultures, and it makes me, a better math teacher, and not be called an ist while doing it. Yet, we are so afraid to be called an ist, we do nothing about the isms. We disown the isms, but from our perch of power, we are the isms. So I choose to use my power to fight the isms. Whether you see it or not, we are no longer in a world of black or white, foreign or domestic, male or female. There is an infinite world in between. And if students are not knowing, not on task, not passing, it's not their fault, it's ours. After a prior speaking engagement, I once had someone in the audience tell me, "You sure look like a math teacher, but you don't sound like a math teacher." And the stereotypes have begun to crack, and they can for all of us. Just take off the binary bifocals and see your world, see your school, see your students for who and what they really are.